Hello, RichieV here, and today I'm back with another Nostalgia Reaction. Now, Nostalgia Reaction is where I look back at something with rose-tinted glasses to see if it still holds up today. Now, what I'm going to look at today isn't a song this time, but it's going to be the best of Roddy Piper's Piper's Pit, because I'm a big fan, especially in the 80s, which is the Hogan era, although I kind of like to think of it as the Roddy Piper era, and then in the 90s, the Attitude Era. So those two eras are my favorite times watching, with one exception, and let's talk about it. When I was younger and I watched Portland wrestling, you see Portland wrestling would come on, was it 10, 11 o'clock at night, something like that on Saturday, every Saturday. And who was there? Well, you had Roddy Piper there. Roddy Piper started as a bad guy, and he had all the gimmicks. He was already set up. He was like everything you saw WWF at the time. He just hadn't quite hit the big time yet. In Portland, there was a guy, a wrestler named Playboy Buddy Rose, who's the best bad guy I've ever seen. Unfortunately, by the time he sort of got that nod, that call up to the big leagues, to the WWF, he actually had gained a lot of weight. Well, if you ever saw him in his heyday, Playboy Buddy Rose was just the ultimate bad guy. And I say that, and I say Playboy Buddy Rose was the ultimate bad guy, not Roddy Piper, because Piper, unlike Playboy Buddy Rose, at some point, the crowds would start cheering him. No matter how bad he was, no matter what rotten thing he did, the crowds would at some point start to like him. He just had that personality. So Roddy Piper is definitely my favorite wrestler, and then Playboy Buddy Rose was my favorite bad guy, or heel, I guess it would be called in wrestling terms. And then in Portland, after Roddy Piper did the turn where he went from babyface to heel, other way around, from heel to babyface, they teamed him up with Rick Martel. Some of you may know him. He didn't quite hit it quite as big in the 80s as Roddy Piper, but he still was big time in the 80s. And when in Portland, when they tag team together, Roddy Piper and Rick Martel against the Army, Rose's Army, they were like rock stars. They were like the biggest thing in the Northwest when they were there as a tag team. And then they both ended up in the old WWF, which is now the WWE. So I said, well, it's been a long time since I've seen any Roddy Piper stuff. I probably will remember it, though. And I know, and he died, a couple of years ago, unfortunately. And so I said, yeah, why don't I watch this? Why don't I watch this, like, the best of Piper's Pit, and just see what I remember, see what I don't remember. I definitely remember the Snook. I think we all remember the Snook. I saw it live. I saw it when it happened. And then, but those of you didn't, you probably have seen it after, because it gets replayed quite a bit, the coconut incidents. This is the best of Piper's Pit, apparently from A&E. That's what my video says. So, okay, let's watch it.
Just let me have this for a second here. I am the originator of Piper's Pit. This is my show.
What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
Are you people half as
Cyndi
ridiculous
Lauper.
as I am? I was in a bar in St. Louis. McMahon was there, and I said to McMahon, you give me a bow tie and a mic stand and 5 weeks, and if I don't get the job done, I'm out.
The next week on TV, he came into WWE, and there was the Piper's Pit set.
What I'm doing out of the kindness of my heart, I have a gentleman here named Frank Williams. In the dressing room, Frankie Williams on Piper's Pit. What? And I'm going, Nobody knew anything about it. Frank Williams, first of all. So where are you from?
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
You're from Columbus, Ohio? I've never lost a match in Columbus, Ohio. Have you ever lost a match?
Yeah?
You have. You're a nice guy, but you're a lousy wrestler. You've never won a match. Now he's hot. And now the cameraman's going, get off a minute. So I'm getting off it. Okay, Frankie. Okay, Frankie. Get out, Frankie. That first sentence might have been, I was born in San Juan, and I got to Columbus in the end.
Now that's a good line. I think I remember it. It sort of refreshed my memory, but just when they think they have the answers, I change the question. That is a good line. That is one of the things Roddy Piper was good at. Later on, The Rock would kind of do the same thing, but he would come up with those quick one-liners. And I think he said he had a notebook that when he would think of a good one-liner, he would write it down in his notebook, and then kind of you kind of use them as needed. And that's where what was it? I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. That was actually something he wrote down and he was going to use for wrestling, and the line came to him in that movie, the movie he was in. Was it They Live? I think it was They Live, or did he use that line?
I might not have it a second week. When he said I'm from Columbus, Ohio, we're rolling. And it set the tone for everything.
It was a platform to get other talent and other stories over. It was an avenue for Roddy Piper to have exposure on television every week, and it was highly entertaining.
All the time, somebody always wants to be a big shot.
If you were a guest on Piper's Pit, you must have been someone, or you were about to be someone.
We are the greatest tag team of them all.
Okay, wait, though. You're the greatest tag team of all. You got a manager, that's a great Matilda. In all of history, there has never been a greater show, and I have had some of the greatest, most intelligent people and athletes ever. I had Hogan. You have a friend?
Yeah, I got a very good friend, something you don't know much about. It wasn't scripted. I never talked with Piper about anything.
I don't give a damn whose name you put on there. You sign it, he'll fight him.
Mike Skills, top 1%. He never let you know what he was going to do. That was so beautiful about it because it was poetry in motion. You had to roll with his flow, and if the flow didn't work for you, you had to do a quick U-turn to catch him off guard.
Mr. T!
It was a battle of the wits the whole time I worked with him, verbally and physically.
Oh, wait! The contract was not over!
It's gonna sound cliche, but one of the Piper Pits that sticks out in my mind is Jimmy Snuka and the Coconut. And I think the reason why is
Oh, cool, that's his daughter. I never saw his daughter. I did read his book. I think I have it somewhere back here. Yeah, this, In the Pit with Piper, In the Pit with Piper, his biography. I bought this. It looks like it came out in around 2002. So I bought it when it came out. I heard his autobiography was coming out, and I bought it 2002. I still have it today.
much with my dad in that. When he's naming the fruits, he's like, 1 coconut, 2 bananas. That is him in the kitchen making a hamburger. That same loud, happy, hilarious energy, that was Dad when he was just being fun. You know, before the hitting with the coconut. I swear he could make a broom entertaining.
Mr. Cameraman, come on over here. In my interviews, what I would do is I would get a skeleton and I would get an ending and a beginning. Then I just roll with it. You, in all your splendor, have crowned yourself the king of professional wrestling. Is that correct? I mean, wait a second. Nobody else here did, man. You know, kind of having an ace in my back pocket because I knew how I was going to end it.
There's only one king.
Piper's Pit was a big success.
He gave him a throne. That was, oh man. This guy was so good. Where are these guys today? I mean, they got to be out there, but I every now and then I check back in with wrestling, and maybe it's probably just an age thing. Maybe I was just young enough to be enchanted by wrestling, and as I got, maybe I just grew older. But I don't know if that's the case, because when the Attitude Era came, you know, you had Mick Foley and you had Steve Austin and Triple H, and you had The Undertaker and The Rock and all those guys. And I'm not even. I know I'm missing people. You know, I just named off the ones off the top of my head, and I know I'm missing people. There was just so many good ones, and I'm not even sure I could name 5 current wrestlers. I don't know. I'll chalk it down to age, that maybe young people are still into wrestling, but oh man, back in the day, Portland wrestling, WWF to WWE, you know, the Hogan era, the Attitude Era. it was very entertaining.
Because nothing had been done like that in our business at the time.
He had all of the things that you couldn't teach.
Hello, peasants.
He was the most innovative, and he really thought outside of the box.
When RP talks, people listen.
This here is the very last Piper's Pit that you'll ever see in your entire life.
It has been an honor and a pleasure, but our time is up. You're out of time when I say you're out of time.
This is my show.
Piper's Pit blossomed Roddy's creativity, and it was a little pre-planned and a lot of spontaneity. He loved having his own show, yep. He flourished in that.
I'm Roddy Piper and you're not.
Well, there you have it. And by the way, I would also like to say that after Piper's Pit, there were a lot of imitators. I think Jericho had basically a Piper's Pit, and you see that kind of thing now and then where wrestlers will have their own their talk show, sort of, in the ring, and it would always, where they'd have a guest on, it always end up into a brawl, whatever. So, but that really came about from Rowdy Piper, really. Anyway, if you have any Rowdy Piper stories or memories of something you saw him doing, put them down in the comments below. And if you like this, hit like or subscribe, yada, yada, yada. And until I see you next time, have a blessed day.